stuff is about to pop off, as they say around here. It's over a small hamlet named Yocho.
Of course it is.
I also have a missive from a one Miss Karen Wells. She says that...
I'm just gonna stop you there. Forget the fairy. It's fine. I was desperate. I realize now I am not that desperate. I am not Alirani desperate.
And on the other side of the square, in the truer purpose, sits Markus. After a long night of walking, he has arrived back at the bar. Resting in front of him are 3 suspicious tomes. The first, a lesson on Median mythology that has always sat so strangely in his pack. The second, a book adorned with a skull received from Rat. And the third, a seemingly ordinary manual on what it's like to grow up as a tiefling. All share the same similar aura. Each tome twitches with an uneasy energy that gave the tiefling pause. Despite his appearances, Markus wasn't such an idiot that would just bust open a potentially magic tome in the middle of something else happening. Or maybe he was and got distracted for prolonged periods of time. Someone or something had been trying to send Markus a message for a very, very long time.
Markus runs a finger over the front cover of each of the books in turn, looking thoughtful. After a moment, he puts the first 2, the Book of Median Mythology and the Skull Book, back into his pack. After only another moment's pause, he opens up the book on tieflings.
You notice, sitting tucked against the front cover is a magical rune of some sort. In a quick second, your wizard eyes have deciphered the magic. It's begging for blood. You notice a stain already applied to it. If you had to guess, you got this book from Inian, and it's a relatively small, vaguely magic thumbprint.
Markus's mouth is drawn into a line. He looks around, makes sure that the bar is empty, waves his hands for a moment and mutters a few syllables, and some basic protective magic goes up around him and the book. Wouldn't want to go exploding some poor bastard drinking establishment. Here we go. Markus holds out his hand, pauses for a second, holds it up to one of his horns, and gouges one palm on it. Only a little bit. He holds his hand out, squeezes it into a fist, and drips some blood onto the sigil. What's the worst that could happen?
The sigil begins to vibrate. You feel an invisible line connecting the blood to your palm. Something in you begins to vibrate violently.
I should probably leave a note. Something crazy's gonna happen here. Markus pulls out a sheet of paper and hurriedly scribbles, "It's okay, I've gotta go somewhere real fast. I'll be back in
Markus hurriedly scribbles with his other functioning arm. He vanishes with the pop.
Mid-sentence. It'll have to do.
Markus's consciousness resumes in a place that feels like sitting up to your eyes in sulphurous, warm marmalade.
I don't know this feeling anywhere. So, I take it this is the space between?
Hello and welcome to the space between. Did you already say the space between?
I already said the space between. I've been here before.
You've
Don't
already
let it
been
get to
here, of course.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm a well-traveled man.
Most excellent. What's
Markus
your name?
Stands up and stretches his hand across the table.
Actually,
Markus
hold on a second. Wait, first of all, it's not exactly wise to use anything other than a pseudonym in this
Oh, I'm sorry,
place.
Markus Tannhauser Valavi.
A pseudonym, not your
It's
real...
very nice to meet you.
Okay, well, that works. He sits back down. Interestingly enough, there was a woman who came here earlier who said her name was Markus Valavi as well.
Markus cracks a smile, snaps his fingers, and goes, "Oh, Inian, you scamp." I didn't say that's not her name.
She was not a tiefling and could not last within this space for particularly long.
I thought you were going to say not a team player, which is also true.
Well, regardless, I think I myself will use a pseudonym, as rude as that may be. You can call me One. He taps a single horn with his thumb.
Because of your
A not
your
particularly
horn.
clever name, but...
No, it's not. But it's okay. I can use that. I'll worm your name out of you at some point or another.
Very well. Would you perhaps like some coffee. He waves his hand across the table. Out of the eldritch abyss comes a screaming cup of coffee.
Markus picks it up. That is coffee with style. How do you get the screams to stay in the brew? Because I always find that they kind of just escape as it's distilling.
All in due time. All in due time.
Okay, you can keep your secrets.
He drinks his own cup of coffee. The smoke escapes into shapes of skulls.
I take a sip and raise my glass to him. Thank you very much.
It tastes delectable. Pitch dark, obviously, with just the slightest insidious edge.
Markus turns around for a split second. A small bottle of milk and a packet of sugar appear in one hand, and he pours all of it in as quick as he can, snaps his fingers, and it appears pitch black again. He turns around in one smooth motion, takes another sip, and folds his hands. So,
Markus is left with a milk mustache.
So, I got here from a book. I generally expect to learn things from books, but this is nice too.
Ah, yes, the book method. One of the more popular forms of communication between tieflings. Did you know the literacy rate among tieflings is 99%?
I had no clue, actually. Believe it or not, I haven't had a large amount of interaction with my own kind outside of, well, my father and, there was another fellow, but we won't get into him.
That's relatively interesting. We are a rare breed when it comes down to it. He cracks his neck. So I assume you're curious about exactly what has brought you here.
Oh yeah. Oh, extremely. Yes. Could you please tell me?
Well, if you've arrived, it means you've likely heeded the call. Tieflings, after they reach a certain age, will feel certain urges. He stares at Markus.
Okay. I'm gonna have to stop you right there because I've already had this talk, and I assure you I know how it all works.
I don't think you've had this exact talk, Mr. Valafi. No. When a tiefling reaches a certain level of, let's say, power, they reach the cap. Your abilities may still seem like they're growing, but you've reached the end of what your body can handle. Isn't that correct?
I don't know how you know that, but I have been feeling as though I can't really throw much more into any of my spells.
Yes, I know about
this. Is just something that happens to tieflings?
Yes, I know about this because I've been through a similar experience, and I must tell you...
I see, and your name is?
There's so much more. However, well, first of all, I should explain to you exactly what's happening, the nature of your blood itself. Tiefling blood is something of a cocktail. This may strike you as odd, but before I was a professional... He watches Markus's eyes glitter. Individual. I was a biology teacher.
What?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just need to...
His head dips slightly. Yes, I'm quite used to that response.
You teach high school biology?
What the hell is a high school?
It's not important.
It sounds made up.
I may have, a bit of a trademark on the terminology, but I assure you it's not made up.
Regardless, the properties of tiefling blood always interested me. Frankly, you could have gotten any number of tieflings willing to, give the talk. You're lucky that you got me. I can explain it in more excruciating detail.
I do love detail, especially if it's excruciating. I think we're going to get along pretty well, One.
Excellent. Well, starting at the beginning, have you ever noticed that you're supremely talented?
I've had my suspicions.
That you, when compared to your lowly peers, are more talented.
I didn't want to say anything about it, but maybe just a little bit. Markus holds up 2 fingers, just a little.
Well, tiefling blood acts as a sort of catalyst. When introduced to a body that's classically human, it drives itself through the veins, drawing out any latent potential. Do you know why that is?
Can't really say. Like I said, I don't actually know a huge amount about my own race.
Well, a long time ago, humanity was just getting their shit together, as they say.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Fire civilization, The limits of what we can comfortably call technology were beginning to form. And do you know what happened? Mankind was tasked with fighting a difficult enemy. During that time period, mankind encountered the gods of this world.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to talk about bears. Gods are fine, too. Proceed.
No, of course we're not talking about bears.
Okay.
Bears were dealt with the second we discovered the technology to create nickels.
Yep, yeah. Tin can full of nickels will do the trick.
Regardless, mankind's first interactions with the gods, do you know how they went?
That I don't think that's been recorded in any history books, so I can't say that I do. I can take a guess at it. Let's see. They prostrated themselves, offered up all their best food.
It went disastrously at first. Think about this. Consider it like a food chain. Mankind existed and climbed to the very top, and then it encountered monsters, creatures that sat above it. The gods were the most difficult of these monsters. And in such a situation, what options does the prey have? What can you possibly do to reverse the direction of the food chain?
Well, there's always pleading for mercy.
You don't know how right you are. At the time, mankind developed, let's call them talents, certain oddities, like what they call chakra these days, or druid bullshit.
Ah, yes, druid bullshit.
The old arts that were required for mankind to simply survive in a wild that was thoroughly uncompromising. But this period of rapid evolution, we could call it, did not last particularly long. Do you know why?
I don't.
Actually, that was quite crass of me. You hit the nail on the head earlier. Mankind developed its greatest defense mechanism of all, prayer.
Of course.
Throwing yourself and deeply flattering the creatures that would pose you any harm. There's no inherent power to prayer, but deep flattery is powerful in itself. Have you ever had a person come up to you and beg for forgiveness, to say that they'll owe their entire existence to you?
Yes and yes.
It's exhilarating, right?
Oh, big time. It's great.
So
wait, are you telling me that mankind has essentially been flattering the gods for thousands of years so that they won't slaughter us?
Yes, indeed.
That's heavy.
Regardless, that is not the exact topic of our discussion today. What do you think happened to the completely normal people before the idea of prayer came around?
Got real good at hiding?
Yes.
I'd assume?
Yes, some hid, waiting for the talented individuals to take care of things for them. This was the age of mythology, heroism. However, there were those that were not content with their current level of ability. If you had a chance to defend your stupid Stone Age village from a local rampaging nature deity, wouldn't you take it? Wouldn't you do whatever it took to gain the power required?
It might be unfair asking me if I would do this, because, if I was back there, I would probably try and find every possible way of rectifying the situation without taking any drastic measures. But sure, if I'm a hypothetical caveman, absolutely. 100%.
And this is where our ancestors came into play. The demons, offering to awaken the talents seen in other humans, in exchange for, well, a price, but we'll get to that later. What tiefling blood does is it forcibly awakens any sort of latent ability. Every single tiefling, every last one you'll find, has a skill, special or otherwise. There are no tiefling bores, drunkards, or layabouts. We are a race entirely of the exceptional, because our blood forces us to be exceptional.
Wow, this is a lot to take in. So you're saying I'm so good at everything just because of my tiefling blood?
Yes, quite.
My demon blood, sorry.
Yes, I understand that might be something of a shock, or painful at first. The realization that your talents might not be your own, might be a gift from something else, can be hard for those with a lot of pride.
Hey, just because I got him from some blood from thousands of years ago doesn't mean that they're not mine now. Markus snaps his fingers and a fire alights on his fingertip.
Brilliant way to think about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty great.
But you've reached the end of what your blood can accomplish. At this point, I think it only fair to describe to you the trial that awaits you. The price.
Price?
In exchange for awakening our latent talents, our ancestors, well, they struck a deal. The tiefling's memory, soul, experiences. What they do using that power ultimately belongs to their demonic ancestor. What you possess now on your own isn't yours, it's merely borrowed. This was a brilliant plan by the Dark Masters, spreading talent amongst the human population, tasking them with mastering it, inheriting it themselves after the tiefling's death. The state you stand in right now, you're nearly perfected. In a few short months or years, I'm unsure of how long it will take you, you will reach the cap, and they'll come for you, ready to claim whatever you've mastered.
Who's going to come for me?
Well, devils, of course. He shrugs his shoulders.
Other tieflings? Or demonic agents?
Demonic agents. The tiefling bit doesn't come till later. No. At a certain point, you'll ripen, your blood will begin to stink, and creatures from the beyond will begin to hound you, as they've hounded me and the others for oh so very long.
This is a bit much, one.
Yes, well, and that's why our runes are so vehement about seeking out tiefling blood. But I'm willing to offer you a way out. The same option that was offered to me and the others.
What happens if I don't do anything?
That is one of your 3 options. Option 1, you go home and you sit on your hands till the end of your days. On your death, you will be collected, and whatever your power, incomplete as it is, will be harvested. Yes, that is a valid option. Pretend like we never had this conversation. Option 2, I can perform a certain rite to remove you of your tiefling blood. You see, there's a strip of verdant flesh running through your back. As I said, biologist. There's a strip of verdant flesh running through your back, particularly conducive to mutation.
Is that the thing I get tangles in sometimes?
Yes, roughly connecting anus to eyeball. Don't think about that too hard.
It's too late.
But were I to exercise your demonic nature, that part of your body would digest itself. It would be excruciatingly painful. Connects partially to your brain, after all. The world might lose some color, some passion, but you'd go fully human. This is an option that, well, most take.
That's not something I can do.
Yes, you'd be left...
This is always who I've been. I can't lose this.
Very well, then the third option. I'll awaken what little potential your blood still holds, forcing it to run wild. Instead of the blood giving to you, you will take from it. It will be an agonizing process, but you should come out far stronger. And then, well, your only option will be to defend yourself from whatever might come.
Will that give me enough power to stop whatever's going to happen?
That will be up to you.
Has anybody ever beat this? Has anybody cheated the system? Just level with me here, one.
Yes, that's how we know it's possible.
How?
There was one who came quite before you, a rather interesting case, who managed to master the power of his own blood. What followed afterwards was a bloodbath. The man got by consuming the essences of other tieflings, devils alike, building his power to such a point that even the archlords of hell wouldn't come for him. That, he leans back in his chair, is the aspiration of all of us tieflings who chose to awaken.
To devour those similar?
Yes.
Until we're too strong to possibly fall?
Indeed. It's not an easy
barbaric.
life. Yes. But it's the one that's waiting for you with that option. Make your choice. Return to the world as another piece of human filth, or become a hunter.
This is what I'm choosing to take away from our conversation, one. The existence of the tiefling has been a supremely tragic one from the very beginning, and we've mostly just been cattle raised on this plane for a being to consume on another one.
Almost comically so, yes.
It's like a giant fucking joke. So, that means that my entire line has been fuel for some sort of archdemon, and my father and I are next on the menu.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm quite unsure of your background, but it's common enough that tiefling are kept as living cattle for such a purpose. Even mortals in this world have such interests.
This is never something I agreed to. I've heard that Hell's legal system is incredible. How can something like this be above board? How does this even work? I never signed anything.
You underestimate the power of Hell's greatest artifact, the red tape.
Was that a joke?
No.
Should I be laughing?
No, it's a deadly serious artifact. It controls literally the fates of all.
It sounded like a bureaucracy joke. I'm sorry.
No, it's a deadly powerful artifact that controls the fates of all creatures, devil or otherwise.
If you say so, I'm making a note of it right now. If you say so.
One of your ancestors signed a contract, and yes, it is inherited by blood.
That's wonderful. I'm 6 different types of fucked. My death has been made difficult. Death is supposed to be easy. That's not fair. But
one shrugs.
But you've also just confirmed that I have power that I've still only seen some of. And on top of that, I have pretty much all of the innovation, guile, and ingenuity of the best of humanity. I never really saw this coming. I don't want to fight my fellow tieflings or face some hugely powerful overdemon. But I'll bet my horns they never saw Markus Valafi coming.
Is that really your name? Because
my name is Markus Tannhauser Valafi. Remember it. Tell it to people. It's important to me. I am a man with the heart of a vizier and the soul of a demon. And if that isn't a winning combination, I don't know what is. Help me pluck something from this shitty situation that some asshole 1,000 years ago threw me into, please.
I enjoy the positive attitude. You're going to need it.
It's all that I can do, One. It's all that I can do.
Completely oblivious to any demonic goings-on, there's a war happening! Kier picks through the swords out in front of him. The Valor Clan guards shuffle around, picking their own weapons. Zelveta sits in the corner, airing out.
So, are you good with what you've got, Zelveta?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, buddy, do you know if there are any bows around here? Or arrows?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, right over here. He grabs you a bow and brings it back. With a quiver of arrows. Gregor, you a arch?
I've arched before.
Wow.
I'm not as good at it as with a glaive, but no one's as good as that.
Well, that is interesting. Could you maybe, like, take a shot at one of these dummies?
Okay. And I'm a little rusty.
Okay.
Gregor fumbles a little bit, trying to remember exactly how to knock his bow and look cool at the same time. He draws back quite easily, strength coming in handy, and lets loose a shot.
The arrow strikes through the dummy's head, slightly off center, but regardless, a very awesome shot. Whoa, Gregor!
Still a little rusty.
You're really good at archering. You know that, man? Really good.
Thanks.
Kier goes back and picks through some swords. I'm thinking, hey, mister. The guard turns around. Yes, sir? Got any, like, big swords? Yeah, they're in the back. He runs away. Oh, I was thinking 2 of them. Get me 2 big swords. That'd be great.
Have you got enough rockets to strap to those?
I was thinking of maybe for now just dropping the rockets. They don't seem to be doing me too well. The man runs back, hauling 2 gigantic swords with him. Yeah, cool. I think this'll work. He picks them up.
Here, that's kind of your thing.
Oh, they're really
the
heavy.
splattering ram.
I know, it's just like, I don't know. I kind of want to be strong like that guy, you know? Not strong like me. Kier fumbles with the blades.
Your strength is your ingenuity. It's also sometimes your weakness. I believe in you. Gregor spins an arrow around his finger, and it goes flying into the ceiling.
Zelveta instinctively dives under the table. You know what, man? Thanks. I'm gonna give the 2-sword thing a shot. See if I could be a good old whore of man.
You really want to be that?
He's strong. I don't know. Seems like he can protect things. I want to protect things.
Just keep your hairbrushes on you.
Okay. Kid, just for you, buddy. Don't worry. They sort out tangles instantly, and I know war can be pretty rough. Ashe sits at the edge of the pond once again. There's some strange affinity she feels with the place. She waits for the army to pass by, still wondering if she should just wait for it to blow over or go and check things out.
I'm sitting here nervously chewing my thumb, eyeing each of the soldiers as they march past. I wanted to get some thinking done. That's why I separated from the group, but if I'm going to be spending all my time worrying about them, maybe I should just... Shit. Okay. I need to find somebody who knows what's going on.
A pebble strikes Ashe in the back of the head.
Gods, what? I quickly whip around, expecting to see Markus or Kier or...
A stone roughly the size of a nickel strikes Ashe on the side of the head. It draws blood.
Ah! What the fuck?
A stone the size of a fist connects
I
with the
dive
side of
out
Ashe's
of the
head.
way. I dive out of the way and sprint over to I sprint over to the barrels full of mud and look around, trying to see where the rocks came from.
You spy a familiar hat peeking up from behind a pile of rocks.
No. Seeing the hat, I narrow my eyes and my hand goes for my blade. I mutter to myself, there's no way. I wait a moment to see if the hat moves at all, remaining behind my cover.
It continues sitting.
I quickly sprint out from behind the cover, heading straight for it. I leap into the brush, aiming for the hat.
You dive on the hat. You notice it's sitting on top of a sack of potatoes. From immediately where you ran from, a familiar figure emerges from a pile of dirt. Aha!
So
she
what?
lifts her hands above her heads and whips a cinder block at you.
I pick up the hat and hold it forward so that it catches in the scoop.
You notice that hat is made out of cardboard. The cinder block flies straight through it and connects with your gut.
What is your problem, Inian?
Oh, we have a score to settle. She adjusts her glove, snaps her fingers. Burning creatures shaped like canines spring to life around her.
God, what? Inian, this isn't the time. There's a war going on, and I have a shit ton of stuff that I need to sort out.
Oh, this
I
is
am stressed out of my head and worried sick.
This is exceedingly the time. There's a war on. Nobody's going to pay attention to the giant of fire I'm about to summon here.
I've had a really, really shitty handful of days. And thinking about it, hearing all of this out loud, I could really use an outlet. You picked the wrong time to start something, Inian. Cracking my knuckles, my eye twitches, and from behind me you hear a shattering noise as the golem hand erupts into existence.
Oh, a hand of moss and stone, adorable. Yeah, I've been thinking about a counter to that pretty
While
much
she's talking,
consistently, and I think
the
I
hand of
found
moss
something
and
much
stone
better.
whips around, grabbing the giant wooden anchor in the ground, unearthing it, and lobbing it straight at Inian. I follow quickly behind it.